Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Welcome to online classes presented by FIST under the supervision of great and honorable principal. Dear students, this is the second spell of the online classes. Dear students, this is my first lecture, final term. Dear student, this is Shahid Ali. The subject is English for grade 7. Dear student, these online classes are arranged by FIST to boost your capability and to enhance your educational level. So hope inshallah these lectures will provide you good help in your career and your study. So let's start, dear students. Today's lesson. This is the first lesson of final term English grade 7. Dear students, this is lesson number 19, the stories of Shakespeare's play. Dear students, Shakespeare was a great playwright. He wrote many famous plays in the English literature. Here, this lesson number 19, this is a passage which is taken from his famous play. So let's start to read this lesson and then explain it. This is the beginning of the lesson number 19, the stories of Shakespeare's plays. If you tried to read one of Shakespeare's plays now, you would probably not get very far. There would be too many words and expressions that you did not understand. That pleasure must wait until you are ready for it. But Shakespeare was an exciting storyteller, and there is no reason why you should not enjoy the stories of his plays, particularly if they are written in clear, simple style. The passage below is taken from one of such collection of Shakespeare's stories. There is not enough space for the whole story. If you want to know what happened when Shylock came to claim his pounds of flesh, you must try to get a copy of the book. So here, dear student, this is a passage taken from the Shakespeare's play, and that is your lesson number 19. The Merchant of Venice. This is the title, or this is the play from where this lesson is taken. At the time when the city of Venice in Italy was rich and famous, one of her chief citizens was a merchant named Antonio. He was well known for his kindness. He had many friends, among them a young Venetian who belonged to Venice, nobleman called Bassanio. Although he came from a noble family, Bassanio was poor and spent more money than he could afford in order to live the kind of life he liked. But Antonio loved him and lent or gave him money whenever he needed it. For the merchant of Venice was a rich man who owned many valuable ships which traded with foreign countries. Now Bassanio loved a rich and noble young lady named Portia, whose father had recently died and left her all his money. So rich, beautiful, and clever was she that princes and noblemen were continually offering to marry her. These visitors, because they were rich and noble, knew how to make a fine show before the lady by arriving at her house with expensive presents and finely dressed servants. But Bassanio, who was poor, could not afford to buy fine presents, and he was afraid that the lady would not like him because he was poor, and so would refuse to marry him. Bassanio went to Antonio and told him of his difficulty. The lady, he said, seems to enjoy my visits, and I think she might be willing to marry me. If only I could make myself look as rich as the other visitors. Would you help me to do this, Antonio, by lending me 3,000 ducats? This is the currency, gold currency of that time, ducats. I am always ready to help you, Bassanio, said Antonio. But I have no money to spare just now. All my ships are at sea, but I shall have plenty of money when they come back. So I will borrow the money from Shylock, the money lender, until then. Shylock was a miser, Bakhil, the best known moneylender in Venice. He was not liked by the people because he was a hard man who demanded a high rate of interest and showed no mercy to those who could not pay back the money borrowed from him. Now Shylock hated Antonio partly because Antonio showed his dislike for Shylock's hard character, but chiefly because Antonio himself often lent money without asking any interest on it. And that, of course, spoiled Shylock's business. So Shylock waited for the day when he could harm Antonio, not knowing that Shylock hated him in this way. Antonio went with his friend Bassanio to borrow 3,000 ducats. I shall be able to pay it back with interest, said Antonio to Shylock. As soon my ships come to port, as you know, they are now at sea and will shortly arrive home with valuable cargoes, goods. At first, Shylock seemed unwilling to lend the money. Your ships may be destroyed by storm before they reach Venice, he said, and then you will be unable to repay the money. But as they talked together, the clever wicked miser thought of a way of harming Antonio. Why should I lend you any money? He asked, turning to Antonio. When you are always calling me an animal and treating me with scorn, scolding me. However, I am willing to be friends with you, and as you sometimes lend money without asking any interest, I will do the same for you to show that I too can be friendly and generous. Antonio was very surprised to hear the moneylender's kind offer. Then Shylock went on, just for a joke. Antonio, we will agree that if you do not repay me, I shall take a pound of your flesh to be cut from any part of your body that I suppose. Antonio laughed and agreed and seemed much amused by the whole business. Bassanio told Antonio not to agree to what Shylock asked, but Antonio treated the whole matter is a joke. So the three men went to a lawyer and signed a paper to say that if Antonio did not repay Shylock the money within 3 months, Shylock was to be allowed to cut off a pound of flesh from any part of his body he chose. Antonio then took the money from Shylock and gave it to Bassanio. Dear students, this was a passage taken from the Merchant of Venice, where three friends, three people doing business with each other, and one of them asked for money from his friend, and at the present time, his friend don't have his friend doesn't have his friend doesn't have the money to give to his friend, and then he buy that money from another miser person, and he agrees for a condition which at the end will be not good for him. Anyhow, this was just a passage taken from the whole play written by Shakespeare, the great writer of English literature. So, dear student, here at the end of this lesson, lesson number 19, here given some words and phrases. You can see on the screen here are two lists, one of words and other phrases taken from the passage. Discuss them with your teacher, necessary, and then make up sentences to show how they are used. So here are words: effort, recently, continually, expensive, refuse, enjoy, interest, scorn, generous, agreed. And the phrases are make a fine show, high rate of interest, showed no mercy, seemed unwilling, kind offer, treated. The matter is a joke. So first of all, dear students, come here to the words. We are going to use this word in a sentence to make you better understanding. Afford, he could not afford to buy a car, so he bought a motorbike instead. Afford, he could not afford to buy a car, so he bought a motorbike instead. Next is, dear student, recently. My son has recently graduated from university. Recently, my son has recently graduated from university. The third word is continually. She had her eyes checked because she was continually getting headache. She had her eyes checked because she was continually getting headache. Number four is expensive. She gave her grandmother an expensive scarf for her 90th birthday. She gave her grandmother an expensive scarf for her 90th birthday. So it was a present on 90th birthday she given to her grandmother. Expensive scarf. Expensive scarf. Number five, refuse. They never refused to give their only son whatever he asked for. Refused. They never refused to give their only son whatever he asked for. Number six is enjoy. Sarah seems to enjoy her English class. Seems Sarah seems to enjoy her English class. Number seven is interest. The high rate of interest banks charge for credit cards forces me to pay my bills immediately. High interest. This is interest. The high rate of interest banks charge for credit cards forces me to pay my bills immediately. Number eight is scorn. Just because we do not have the same opinions is not a reason to treat me with scorn. Number 9, generous. The generous little girl from Turkey gave her doll and all of the money she had saved for a whole year to a fund to help the people affected by the floods. Once again, dear students, generous. The generous little girl from Turkey gave her doll and all of the money she had saved for a whole year to a fund to help the people affected by the floods. Last word is agreed. We agreed to help the aid workers build simple houses for the earthquake victims. We agreed to help the aid workers build simple houses for the earthquake victims. Dear students, these were the words we used. I used them in the sentences and you can understand them well from these sentences. Here are some phrases. Now we will use these phrases in a sentence to make it clear for your better understanding. Phrases: make a fine show. This is phrase number first. Make a fine show. They were fortunate to make a fine show at their wedding with a delicious dinner afterward. They were fortunate to make a fine show at their wedding with a delicious dinner afterward. Next phrase is high rate of interest. The government imposed a high rate of interest to discourage inflation. The government imposed a high rate of interest to discourage inflation. Number third phrase is showed no mercy. The landowner showed no mercy and made the refugees leave his property. The landowner showed no mercy and made the refugees leave his property. Seemed unwilling. At first, my father seemed unwilling to help me write my application, but then he gave me some good suggestions. Kind offer. She made a kind offer to let me stay at her house while I visited Karachi. She made me a kind offer to let me stay at her house when I visited Karachi. The student, the last phrase is treated the matter as a joke. My uncle was given a traffic summons, but he just laughed and treated it as a joke. He just laughed and treated it as a joke. Dear students, these were some words and phrases. I used them in sentences to give you better understanding. Here is, dear student, another page on the screen which is the about the question answers. No, this is the yeah, these are the question answers given in detail. Here are 10 question answers, dear students. There are 10 student question answers, dear students, and the answers are given here. The first paragraph tells us 6 things about Bassanio, what they are. So the answer is here. He was young, he was poor, he was a nobleman, he was from Venice. He spent more money than he could afford. He had a friend named Antonio. He often borrowed money from Antonio. This is the first answer. 6 things which were mentioned. Question 2: what do we learn about Antonio from the first paragraph? So the answer is he was rich, he was a merchant, he lived in Venice, he was a kind man, he was fond of Bassanio, he often gave or loaned Bassanio money. Number third, explain in your own words why Bassanio needed money. So here the answer is Bassanio needed money so that he could impress Portia, the rich lady he wanted to marry. He wanted to give Portia expensive gifts, wear nice clothes when he went to see her. She was afraid. He was afraid Portia would not want to marry him if she knew how poor he was. This is the answer number three. Question four. Although Antonio was rich, he could not lend Bassanio the money. Why not? So the answer is Antonio did not have any spare money at the time because he had invested in a new shipment of goods from foreign countries, but the ship was still at sea, so he would only have money when the ships arrived and he could sell the imported goods. Question number five. Why was Shylock disliked? Give a full answer. The answer is here. Shylock charged a high rate of interest and the money he lent, and he was without mercy when a borrower was late in paying back the money. Number six, why did Shylock hate Antonio? Give full answer. The answer is here, dear students. Shylock hated Antonio because Antonio spoiled Shylock's business by lending money without interest to those who needed it. Number seven question is if Shylock hated Antonio, why did Antonio borrow the money from him? The answer is Antonio did not know that Shylock hated him. Also, Shylock was the best known moneylender in the Venice, and Antonio was sure he could repay the loan as soon as his ships docked. Number eight, why did Shylock lend Antonio the money? The answer is Shylock loaned the money to Antonio because he wanted to find an opportunity to harm Antonio in some way, and he had thought of one. Number nine, why was Antonio surprised at the money lender's kind offer? The answer is as Shylock was unpopular for his strict ways and high rate of interest, Antonio was surprised at Shylock's offer of lending money without charging interest. The last question is why did Bassanio tell Antonio not to agree? Bassanio did not want Antonio to make such an unusual bargain with Shylock, and so. So, dear students, these were the given 10 questions. Here I mentioned the answers in detail. You can take the answer and idea from here. The next page is repeat to these questions using the present continuous tense. The question is here given. When are you meeting your friend? So I'm meeting him tomorrow using the present continuous tense. I'm meeting him tomorrow. Number two, how are you going home after school? After school, comma, I'm going home by bus. I'm going home by bus used here present continuous tense. What are you doing this evening? The answer is I'm going for a walk in the park this evening. Number four, where are you going tonight? The answer is I'm going to a restaurant for dinner tonight. Number five, when are they having a meeting? They are having a meeting tomorrow evening. Having a meeting tomorrow evening. Present continuous. Number six, what time is school finishing today? The answer is school is finishing at 2 o'clock. Is finishing at 2 o'clock. Present continuous. Number seven, what are you having for supper tonight? I'm having burgers for supper tonight. Having burger. I am having burger. This is having burger, am having burger. This is present continuous. Number nine is are you playing in the school team on Saturday? The answer is yes, I'm playing in the school's team on Saturday. I'm playing, this is present continuous, dear students. The last sentence, number 10, is the director of education visiting the school soon? The answer is yes, the director of education is visiting the school soon. Is visiting, this is present continuous. Dear student, here the exercise number B is mentioned here on the screen. You can see it. This is exercise number B. Answer these questions using the future continuous. It was a present continuous. Here they demanded what the future continuous tense. Sentence number one is, dear students, What will be, what will you be doing in an hour's time? So the future continuous tense is, answer is, in an hour's time I shall be dining with my parents. Okay, this is I shall be dining. So this is what, this is future continuous tense. Number two, what will you be doing at 5 o'clock this afternoon? So the answer is I will be clearing the car. This is future continuous. I will be clearing the car at 5 o'clock this afternoon. Number third, what will you be doing at 8:30 tonight? So the answer is, dear students, I will be sleeping at 8:30 tonight. Will be sleeping, this is future continuous. Number four, date, what will you be doing at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning? So the answer is, at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, I shall be having breakfast. Shall be having breakfast is future continuous tense. The last question, what will you be doing in the next lesson? Dear student, the answer is in future continuous tense. In the next lesson, I will be playing a football match. This is answer number 5, given in the future continuous tense. Dear students, here you can find another screen. Exercise number C, replace the present continuous tense with the future continuous tense. So dear students, here sentence number 1, we are leaving soon. So in the future, it will be like this. Future continuous, we shall be leaving soon. Number 2, he is visiting the school next year. He will be visiting the school next year. Will be, this is future continuous, changed into future continuous tense. Number third, they are staying for 3 weeks, so they will be staying, future continuous tense. They will be staying for 3 weeks. Number four, I'm seeing him next day, next Saturday. So I shall, or both you can use I shall or will be seeing him next Saturday. Number five, I'm writing to him soon. I'm writing to him soon. So here number 5 is I shall or will be, both you can use writing to him soon. Number 6, he's leaving school in a few weeks time. Number 6, he will be leaving school in a few weeks time. Number 7, I'm going to Hyderabad next week. I shall be or I will be going to Hyderabad next week. Number 8, they are acting in a play at the end of term. They will be acting. They will be acting. This is future continuous tense, dear students. Changed. They will be acting in a play at the end of the term. The last sentence, I'm going up into a new class soon. So here it is changed to future continuous tense. I shall be or I will be going up into a new class soon. Dear students, it was exercise number C, where present continuous is changed to future continuous tense. Here, dear students, is another exercise you can see on the board on the screen, and it is about to add des to these words. Then use each word in sentence. Use your dictionary if necessary. So before these words, we will use des. It means disagree, disappear, discourage, discover, disgrace, disorder, dishonor, displace, dishonor. We will use, dear students, these words in a sentence. And number B, add miss to these words and then use each word in a sentence. So these words will be misconduct, misfire, misfortune, misguided, mislead, misplaced, misprint, mistrust. So dear students, here on in this screen, we will use these both words, added dis and added miss with these words. So here, first of all, it is answer key A, disagree. My parents disagree with my views on behavior. So here we added this with the agree and used it in sentence. Disappear. The magician made my wristwatch disappear before our eyes. Disappear is used in the sentence. Discourage. As the teacher did not want to discourage the weak students, she always praised what he did right. So here we use this before courage and we use it in the sentence discourage. Rather, the citizen what he did wrong. Okay, here is another word, dear student, and that is discover. I tried to discover where my grandfather had buried the treasure, but I was unsuccessful. Here, discover is used in the sentence. Disgrace. Salman, who has been caught stealing many times, is a disgrace to his family. Disorder. In the absence of the teacher, the classroom was in incomplete disorder. Dishonor. It was a matter of great shame and dishonor for our country when our sports heroes were caught smuggling drugs. Displace. Ships float because they displace water equivalent to their weight. Dissolve. It is easier to dissolve sugar in hot water than in cool. So, dear student, here in this exercise number A, we added before all these were this, and then I use these all words uh, in a sentence in sentences so that you can understand them better. Here is the exercise B where I added miss before these words. So the first word is misconduct. Our teacher can tolerate mischief but not misconduct. Misconduct is used here in the sentence. Misfire. A gun might misfire and hurt someone if not used carefully. Misfire is used here in the sentence. Misfortune. Misfortune struck the city when it was hit by a devastating earthquake last week. Misguided. The man misguided the tourist who got lost in the streets of Lahore. Mislead. True friends will never mislead. Misplace. I always misplace my books and then spend hours looking for them. Misprint. The misprint on the invitation card caused confusion about the date. Mistrust. The children mistrust the ice cream vendor who once sold them ice cream that had turned sour. So, dear students, these were the two exercises where I added before some words this and before some word miss, and then I use them in the proper sentences so that you can better understand them. Dear students, here we use miss and this before the verse. This is the last screen. You can see this is the last lesson. This is the last exercise. You can see on the screen useful words and phrases with and without. Complete these sentences by adding with or without. So here, dear students, I gave you the answer keys that you can use with or without in these sentences where you can find this sign. Here in this sign you can use in the sentence number one when, with. Are you with us or against us? I'm against you. I do not agree. I do not agree with you with what you are suggesting. So here in the both places we will use with. In the sentence number two, will you come with me to get some coconuts? I cannot climb the tree without your help, with your help, I think I can manage it. Number three sentence, a team is useless without a captain. And similarly, sentence number four, I talked with him for some time until at last he said that he agreed with me. In both places, we will use with. Here, sentence number five is, if you compare your school with mine, you will see that there are many differences. Sentence number six, the goalkeeper did not arrive, and we had to begin the game without him. Here we will put without. Number seven, there was so much water on the road that it was difficult to cross without getting our feet wet. The last sentence of this exercise is number eight. Some people say that you cannot make friends without making enemies. So, dear students, this was the last exercise. I hope you will learn this well, and it will give you help, and it will improve your understanding. And inshallah, you will find this lecture helpful. So if you have any ambiguity, you can ask me. I will try to provide you the material regarding this lecture. So hope you enjoyed it well. See you in the next lecture. Up to date. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.